What is up, ladies and gentlemen? But most of all, you ladies out there, thanks for clicking on another episode of Break the Silence. I am your host, Cyborg. Mavs-Kings. Split cap! We just got done watching a fascinating matchup between the Dallas Mavericks and the Sacramento Kings. Right now, the 3 and 4 seed in the Western Conference. Two teams that are at a very interesting spot in their season. Sacramento way outperforming maybe what we expected going into the season. They're the 3 seed. They've been the 3 seed for a little while. The Dallas Mavericks trading for Kyrie Irving. And the big question is, how will him and Luka Doncic play together? Well, tonight we didn't get that answered, but hopefully tomorrow night when these two teams play again. The winner of that game, they'll be tied technically for the 3 seed. I think Sacramento will have a slightly better winning percentage at that point, but they'll be tied as far as games behind for the 3 seed. So big game to watch tomorrow in this rematch, and maybe we get Luka Doncic in it. Tonight, the Dallas Mavericks won 122-114. This is their second game with Kyrie Irving. They're now 2-0 with Kyrie Irving. There's a lot to break down when it comes to the way that they're playing basketball. But tonight's game was super interesting because in the first half was an offensive explosion. Dallas had 74 points in the first half. And then in the third quarter, Sacramento won 31-27. In the fourth quarter, though, the scoring really slowed down. Defense is locked in, and that's interesting because Kyrie Irving, De'Aaron Fox, the 2 best fourth quarter scorers in the entire NBA. So that's when you would expect these two teams to tick up, but both teams kind of locked down on defense. A lot of difficult shots for those guys. But tonight we saw the value of Kyrie Irving late in games. The pressure he puts on opponents, his ability to make free throws, and a lot of what makes Kyrie Irving so valuable when he's right, when he's playing basketball, and when we're not distracted by things off the court. Before we get into this game, take a second to subscribe to the channel. We're up over 1,000 subscribers, but the grind doesn't stop. This is actually my 3rd video tonight. We're going to keep grinding. We actually just started our NBA picks. It'll be like a little bit of a gambling. We'll do shorts before every night's games. We'll pick 3 games. Tonight we went 2-1. 2-1 is profitable. That's all you want to be. You want to be profitable in gambling, and 2-1 tonight was profitable. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So let's talk about this Mavs, and don't miss my Luka jersey, by the way. The thing that I find very interesting is that this Dallas offense has played so well with Kyrie Irving since it's got there. Kyrie Irving has played very good. He's had 24 points in the first game, 25 points tonight. But the guys around him are playing at a very high level. And the problem we've seen with the Dallas Mavericks all season is that when Luka plays, this team is is the number one is like a number 1 team in the league. When Luka's off the court, this team is a bottom 5 team in the league. So it goes from one of the best teams in the league to one of the worst teams in the league just from Luka Doncic being on and off the court because their offense really stalls. You know, they're not defensive stoppers. You wouldn't call the Dallas Mavericks. Their defense has regressed a little bit from last year. But now that you're able to add Kyrie Irving, you have the ability to have an elite scorer on the court at all times, and that creates really good shots for the rest of the guys on the court because they have a bunch of good shooters. The guy they brought in, Christian Wood, who I'm a big fan of, very good 3-point shooter, definitely a good catch and shoot guy. Tim Hardaway Jr. can shoot the 3 ball, but he can also score off of one of those good players. Reggie Bullock, very good 3-point shooter, can score off of those guys. Josh Green, a guy that they said they didn't want to trade in that Kyrie Irving trade, so they held on to him, and tonight he played one of the best games I've seen him play as a Dallas Maverick. He was 17 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, and he was 7 of 12 from the field. That is highly impressive from those guys. And then the development of their young guy, Jaden Hardy, he's a 2nd-round rookie, had 12 points tonight, and he's actually really starting to show flashes. He's had a 29-point game. I believe he had a 25-point game. So Hardy having massive flashes for the Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie Irving creates so much gravity towards him that it creates good shots for the other guys. And that's what we see with Luka Doncic. And Luka, what makes him so special is there's so much focus on him because of how well he can score. And he's such an elite level passer. Well, Kyrie tonight had 10 assists. And if Kyrie Irving is going to be able to play off of these guys and pass the ball at a high level, guys are going to knock down shots because this Dallas Mavericks team has legitimate shooters and guys that can knock down the three ball. The big question mark remains, how will Luka Doncic play off ball? And we saw in an interview that he said he's very excited to play off ball. He said it'll be a new challenge for him, but he's very excited for the opportunity to play a little bit more off ball. Maybe that will improve his defense a little bit, make him offensively not have to feel like he has to carry so much of the load every night. Now, I think it's interesting. Last year, what we saw work for Dallas a lot was the three guards. It was Luka, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jalen Brunson. Now you have Luka, Kyrie Irving, who's an upgrade. And if this Jaden Hardy guy is going to turn into a decent player, that is very interesting. You're adding Tim Hardaway Jr. He didn't play much last year. Obviously, you're losing Dorian Finney-Smith, but hopefully you get Maxi Kleber back at some point. And this Dallas Mavericks team will be a real player in the Western Conferences. If the season ended today, they would play the Phoenix Suns, and we would get a Kyrie Irving versus Kevin Durant matchup. There's a when this trade originally happened, I had major concerns, and I think that is probably the smart way to approach it. How will Luka and Kyrie play together? They're two of the top 5 ISO players in the entire NBA. How will those two guys be able to play off of each other? Will it be ISO ball all the time? Will they be able to distribute to each other? Luka's not a great catch and shoot three-point shooter. He's a very good, deep, tough three-point shooter, but he hasn't shot a lot of catch and shoot shots in his life. Kyrie Irving is good off ball. We saw him be able to play off ball with James Harden. We saw him play off ball with LeBron James. He's had the opportunity to play off ball with multiple players, and even with Kevin Durant, you're not necessarily the clear number one. So when you come in and you're playing with Luka Doncic, he's going to be the number 2. But will Luka have times where he's able to add value off ball? And one of the things that's so important when you're off ball is movement. It's moving without the basketball, creating better looks for some of your guys, maybe setting some off screens. Some of the stuff that we haven't seen Luka have to do in his career or really have the opportunity to do because he didn't have players good enough to handle a lot of that offensive load. So that's the big question with the Mavericks. How will those two mesh? I really hope we get to see that tomorrow. But right now, being a game out of the 3 seed, you're 4 games out of the 2 seed, they are right there in striking distance. And if they can get hot, with Memphis starting to struggle a little bit, Sacramento is 5-5 in their last 10, struggling a little bit. Denver 5-5 in their last 10, struggling a little bit. Can Dallas make a run for this 1 through 3 seed? And you want home court in the playoffs because with all the additions in the Western Conference, Phoenix getting Kevin Durant, the Clippers added a bunch of guys. Will the Pelicans come back healthy? We'll see. Warriors are hurt. Maybe they fall. Minnesota, we'll see what happens there. But if you can get one of those top seeds and you end up playing a Minnesota or a Utah or someone along those lines, you have a way better chance in the first round. And in the Western Conference, it's going to be a gauntlet once you get past the first round. I love Luka's response, if you saw it today, when they asked about the addition of Kevin Durant. He said so smugly, well, they're the favorites in the West, right? And it sounded like Luka Doncic took that to heart and took that so personally that he is going to come out with an absolute vengeance if they get the opportunity to play them in the playoffs. I would love to see the Suns, Mavericks. Obviously, it was a rivalry from last year. A ton of trash talk between Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and Luka Doncic just went out there and absolutely shut him up. Now adding Kyrie Irving versus KD, and I know that they're friends, but just that matchup would be so electric between these two squads. I am so excited for this year's playoffs in the Western Conference. On the other side of the basketball, the Sacramento Kings, they're playing offense at a very high level. Their defense just has to uptick a little bit. And I know that you have a lot of quality offensive players. Domantas Sabonis is a very good offensive player. De'Aaron Fox, very good offensive player. Congrats to him, by the way, for making the All-Star game. But you have these guys that are Kevin Huerter, offensive guy. You have these guys that are so focused on offense. Are they going to be able to defend at the same? Are they going to be able to step up defensively to compete in the Western Conference? The Mavericks are not particularly good defenders, but they went all in on the offensive side of the court, and they're going to be so elite offensively with Luka and Kyrie Irving. They'll probably have the number one offense. They'll probably be the number one offensive rated team in the entire NBA, and that has so much value. So we'll see what happens the rest of the season. Super excited for both of these squads. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're growing, we're grinding. Cyborg out.